Yes, you have something to say, Devdulal?
Oh, well,
Your voice is cracking.
yes. Are you listening to me? Am I audible?
Yes, now you're audible. Earlier, your voice
Hello.
was cracking.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Hello. Am I audible? Okay. Okay. So I am also on my way in my train, but that doesn't matter.
No, that will matter because
All I can say is that it is what happens to me is that whatever time I manage to get nowadays, I am concentrating on Victorian and hello,
um,
hello.
yes, we can hear you, Devdulal, but if you are traveling,
I can listen to you to this.
yes, so I don't think you would be able to communicate as much as we would like you to. So
No, no,
let's see.
no, no. I'm all okay. As far as I can, listen to you all. I can communicate. I am actually willing to communicate with you all. So
Okay.
no, the point over here is that because I am not actually I have not prepared on the romantic age, since I am preparing on focusing much on the Victorian and restoration period, which are the topics of my focus for this upcoming CSC interview. So I would like to question upon those on those two particular ages. But yes, since all the other participants are focusing on or preparing themselves on the romantic age, I can ask questions on romantic era. So is that okay?
Yes, that is okay, but you won't be able to choose from which era or which age you would be asked questions from. So, what we have decided is to cover a larger area, and since your date of interview is not yet mentioned, so you might have had learnt a little about the romantic age as well, but that's okay. I mean, we can ask questions and you might know the answer, or you might know the answer even after preparation, so it won't matter much. But once it is decided that something is going to be the focus of an interview next week, we have to focus at least a day or two on that. Other than that, we can.
Theoretical part of that age, I think I will not be able to put much that effort on that particular age, because since of the all the areas cannot be, I think it's not possible to cover all that area with that much focus, I think. So it's my request for to all of you.
No, we are not trying to cover all the ages of English literature. That is not possible. But what we are trying to do is to cover as much area as possible, because if you are talking about Victorian era, questions will automatically come from the Romantic age. Whenever you mention Victorian age, they would go an age earlier or an age later. That is the usual way in which they move. Okay, so you, while one's focus should be on a particular age or a particular author, but focusing on a particular author or a particular age, at the same time you have to also learn a bit about, you have to be more knowledgeable about associated or related ages and eras. And it has been decided in the group, follow the group. If you are agreeing to a particular thing that is happening in the group, then okay, fine, he has left. Okay, so Momita, you will take questions. I mean, I don't understand, we are just five people here, and Hassan might not be able to participate. He is just listening, and we just have Ram and Sanjukta. But since Ram is, I think, here for the first or the second time, well, we can continue. But I don't know. I
But I
see.
have kind.
Hmm,
Yes, yes. Sorry to interrupt.
hmm.
The thing is, I can like ask questions, or I can be asked questions from this particular age because I have read little bit about this since the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that's
But the
what we
thing is,
can do. Like, we can read something from the romantic age. I mean, even the area is so focused. Like, it's just romantic
yes,
prose writers or romantic prose, which is a very
hmm,
focused area, and you can just spend a day or two on this. And
exactly.
but what I do not, what I think I am not liking is the lackadaisical attitude of the candidates in the group. You, if you are absent for the most of the interviews, if you are absent for a greater part of the interview, I don't know, I'll think that I will not be carrying out these interviews any longer. If I find that people are not serious about it, then what do I have to gain from this dampens my spirit a lot. And I don't know. I think I have to think twice before carrying out these things any further. Maybe just once next week, because I have asked MK ma'am to take it, and after that, maybe if I see that this is something that you take for granted, then I don't see any use of these interviews. But since we are in this, um,
No,
though
no,
they,
sir. We are sorry. We are sorry because
no, no, no,
sir.
Hassan, it's
Please,
okay.
please
You,
continue. Yeah,
no, no,
then
no.
don't stop it,
You
sir.
you are serious. I know that, and you have uh, conveyed to me the reason as to why you would only be a silent listener. But what I am saying is, we have more than like 10 people. We are like 10 strong, or maybe more. And in excluding me, every interview, every time, less and less people turn up. So I hope you understand that, you know this is an exercise which should be based on your participation, not mine. I mean, I don't really matter here. But if you are not participative enough, if you think that since this is kind of a free thing and you can take it for granted, then I will rethink as to how we can do it, if at all. No, I mean, Devdulal, I'm not talking about you. I'm saying it in a general sense, because I am observing this is happening from the last week or so, and it's only like the third week, and already people are less interested. So anyway, Momita, you are next. You will be asked questions,
Okay, sir.
and I hope you have prepared yourself. Um, and okay, so I'll ask Ram to ask questions to Momita, and then
Okay, thank you.
Sanjukta, and then Devdulal, and maybe at the end me. Okay, so Ram, you can ask your questions to Momita.
Now, the first question that I have is, I have come across the term called Zeitgeist. Right, this is a German term, but when I don't know. I mean, I'm not interviewing somebody. I know that, but I'm just asking question because of my interest. This term, when I'm approaching this term, it says that it is the spirit of the age. Now, the spirit of the age, it can be applied to any age, right? So, why it is particularly applied to the age of 18th century, or a little bit 19th century? Why it is so? That is my first question.
Sorry, I have no idea.
Um, does anybody have any idea about it?
Ram, could you rephrase the question? Like,
Definitely.
yeah.
The term is Zeitgeist,
Hmm.
Zeditgeist,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And when I kind of Google it, I find that the meaning of the term is kind of spirit of the age.
Yes.
Now, the spirit of the age, this term can be applied to any age. It can be romantic period, it can be Victorian period, it can be modern period. But when Googling it, the more I Google it, the more I get the information that it is particularly applied to the age of romantic to a certain extent, or 17th century, 18th century, a little bit 19th century. Why is it so? That is my question. Why can't I apply this term to any age? Why can't I apply this term to modern postmodern period?
Hmm.
I mean, if I can.
Uh, okay, Momita, would you try to answer this?
No, sir, I have no idea.
And
Devdulal
by the
also says the same thing,
sorry,
that he has no clue. And Sanjukta, what about you?
and there is also an essay by William Hazlitt,
Hmm.
and the name of the essay is "Spirit of the Age."
Hmm.
So does it connect to this particular term or not? I have no idea about it. So I would like to know more about this.
Okay, Sanjukta.
Sir, I am trying only. I do not know it is correct or not, but can I try?
Yes, sure.
Sure.
Oh, the very term means the spirit of age or the spirit of time. What I understand actually, the here the spirit of time or spirit of age is perfectly reflected in its literature. Means as the age, as the spirit, or as the age, so is its literature. So how literature should be from the point of view of the age. It can be social, political, moral, or economic. The things that are there means behind the background of the age, the literature depends. So in terms of more romantic, when we are talking about romantic era, means there is a revolution from the 18th century predominant idea like reason, order, uh, age or upper class society, the privileged idea or the upper class idea that are there dominant and prevalent in the era of 18th century. So there was a movement in romantic era. We find that the they are deviating from in terms of attitude, deviating in terms of their perspective in point of view of looking at things. So the attitude is not that they are carrying their predecessors. They are deviating the way they look at they look at nature. They are giving priority to the things that the mind, the individuality, emotion, imagination, all things. So we find here that the age is perfectly deviating from the previous age or the predominant figures of the predecessors era. So the term that I find is really relevant, but we are as we are seeing this. Uh, the way the world is the things are doing in the world, the way the things are the happening, so the attitude of looking things also differ from the previous session. And and the thing is actually the age which is suppose we find the literature is perfectly reflected in there are some backgrounds, there are some what should I say, the popular movement or something that are behind an age. So the literature must be the mirror of the age, we can say a mirror of the society. So it can be said that spirit of age is perfectly reflected in its literature. In sometimes it is not also. Suppose for Byron, find the Victorian age. In Victorian era, we find the poet like Byron is not representing the age for what a nation actually did. So we do not find always it is happening, but it is happening still. That is the thing I know.
Sir, I think yes, Sangjukta is quite right. So I think that every age is it's unique. It has a unique some kind of spirit, such as you look the Renaissance, and after that the French Revolution, the World War, and there are several incidents actually that happens. So if I say that about Romanticism, so I can say that yes. You look at the French Revolutions. So it actually sets the mood of the age. So this is the spirit: equality, fraternity, and liberty are initially stage. So Coleridge, Wordsworth, and in a first generation writer, they actually was very much influenced by the movement. So actually, that actually sets the mood in Roman in the interwar age. So they are much influenced by the war, and after the First World War and Second World War, we can find the poetry like this. I think, sir, didn't actually happens. It may be such as in neoclassical as something like Age of Sensibility or like that. So Sangjukta is quite right. I just add something, and I was thinking, sir, another question comes in my mind, that what is that Kantian philosophy about romanticism or imaginations. So what is the relation of any could you find that Sangjukta or Moumita, could you find that any relation of Kantian philosophy, any influence of Kantian philosophy on romantic writers such as Coleridge or Wordsworth and any other writer? So I just
yes, of course. Yeah,
I just
Kantian philosophy is
just I got to the scope to ask.
okay. Actually, Kantian philosophy is basically the basis of the idea of the Romanticism. How the idea of Romanticism develops is actually taken from Coleridge and Wordsworth is was reading Berkeley, George Berkeley, and Kant again and again, and all the core idea of the Romantic philosophy are taken from Kantian philosophy. Actually, because first, I actually, if I want to give the answer, then I have to start from Berkeley, John Locke, Berkeley, Hartley, Hume. Then I can come through Hume. Sorry, I can come Kant, because Kant is not actually come from somewhere. Kant is actually doing the thing that are there. The predecessors of Kant are actually he is adding something which the predecessors of the same age telling. Because if we look at the idea of Lockean idea, what it is called, Locke was saying that at the time of birth, human mind is actually like tabula rasa, is like a blank sheet of paper. The impression can be impinged only. The more we gain information, experience, it will impinge in our mind, and we can correlate the idea only. Here the philosophy from Romanticism is taken, I think, a bit towards the core idea, because then Berkeley is adding something, then from Berkeley Kant is adding two more things. Here from the idea of what Barclay is actually stating that they are cooperating with the idea of Locke, and again he is adding that no, actually both Plato and Locke and Barclay both are empiricists. Still there is a difference in their perspective and their attitude of looking at things. Basically Barclay is saying that there is something where Locke is saying that no, there is nothing called innate, only impression can imprint, human mind is like tabula rasa. Barclay is saying that no, if there is nothing called innate, then how can we associate the idea, that the idea there in the object of the world, how can we associate if there is nothing? So here from the bargaining between the idea of empiricist and individualist, association of ideas, or better to say individual idealism is started. And here Kant is adding something with the Barclay's idea. Kant is saying that it is Barclay as is the propagator of the idea of individual idealism, and Kant is adding the human spirit, human mind. That is that only why we perceive a thing. If we cannot perceive, the thing is not, means the thing doesn't exist until and unless we perceive that there is no existence of the thing. This is the first aim. I think the core philosophy of Romanticism started from Kantian philosophy. He is the person is first time emphasizing the mind, the individuality, and the idealism, which is I think the core area of Romanticism. That is why Barclay, Wordsworth, and Coleridge is reading Kant again and again. He is only the first person who is talking about the inceptive quality of the mind that can associate the nature. When in Tintanabe, Wordsworth is saying about the beauties of nature, the beauteous forms of nature, the first time when he is saying that in my first visit, there is nothing, means the thing that he cannot recapitulate, or he cannot find the he has the only the youthful pleasure during his first visit, but in second time when he is visiting the same wide river, he is actually encapsulate the very forms of nature. He is actually taking the forms of nature, the beauteous forms of nature in his mind, and reanimate the thing that Kant is saying again and again. I don't know I am right or wrong, but so far I can understand.
Thank you, Sangjukta. Yes. So yes, I don't know. Just the question came into my mind. That I asked. I think there is the Kant has some kind of philosophy, theory on imagination. Okay. So still, I have not read it. So I think yes. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. May I intervene?
Yes.
With as Ramprasad asked the question about Zeitgeist, I think although the term I have seen being applied to almost every age, but if as Ramprasad already pointed out, that if the term has cannot be applied arbitrarily to a postmodern, especially postmodern age, I think the reason might be that the postmodern age is not as homogeneous as the romantic or the matter 18th century was. Big, I think we can describe the neoclassical era and then the romantic era typically with or the movement of that particular era in unidimensionally. But what happens in postmodern era is that it cannot be described under an umbrella term, combining all the movements of arts, music, literature, and all that. I think if the term, JDS cannot be applied to the postmodern age, the reasons can, as far as my understanding is concerned, this might be one of the many reasons of that. I don't know whether uh, I am pointing out the right thing or not, but this comes to my mind, and I wanted to share with you all.
Yes, I agree to all the views, but the thing is, when it comes to modern or postmodern era, we have a different kind of idea, like the fragmentation. In the modern era, we have fragmentation. In the postmodern era, they are not they are accepting that. In the modern era, they are not accepting the fragmentation, and they are kind of nostalgic about the romantic period. Okay, yes, in the romantic period, we were looking at nature, we were writing something. But in the modern era, we have the city life. We have this ups and downs and topsy turviness, the chaos, right? Yes, for that matter, the literature that the poets and the novelists they are producing, they have a different kind of term, this newness, and in this term, Gedges, it also talks about the spirit of the age, that the newness of the age, the kind of the chaos that is happening there, or the kind of fragmentation or as Hassan was saying, that the I mean the French Revolution was doing. Because of that, this spirit of the age is into the context. I also accept this. And as Peterson was also saying that the idea actually came on the views of Hegel and Goethe, and who were from the 17th, 18th century. I can totally relate to all these things. But why? I totally am. Applying this term to the modern, romantic period, or to a certain extent 18th, 17th century, because of this. They are coming from that particular age. Is that so? That is my question.
Sorry, Ram, could you please, you know, uh, elaborate your question a bit more, because I cannot, understand your point. Why Zeitgeist is uh, applied only to the 18th and 19th century? I mean, the Romantic era. So,
Yes,
is this your question?
yes, totally.
Okay.
When we talk about Zeitgeist, it particularly applies to this. Okay, Zeitgeist means the spirit of the age, and it is about 18th or to a certain extent 19th century. Why not in the modern era? That is my
Okay. Okay, that might be a question, because as I have already clarified that I have seen the term being applied to describe uh, the spirit of the era to a particular form of art, like music, or say for literature, or any kind of art. I have seen it being the term being applied, but I have to walk it uh, on a bit more and a bit more intensely to find out if the term can, if the term is not.
um, I had, or I have never seen any such restrictions in the literature that I have read, that why can't the term zeitgeist or actually I found out that they want to pronounce it as Zeitgeist, not the Z but the S. Anyway, whatever it is, sometimes some people are very particular with pronunciations, which we need not be. So the Zeitgeist or the Zeitgeist, whatever it is, I do not know of any official restrictions on or usage of Zeitgeist for or against the Romantic period. But what I think happened is, whenever you said that you were searching for the term or the origin of the term, so the term actually originated, or the term was used or used in his writing by Herder, who is a German philosopher, along with Hegel and others. And since, or Goethe or Goethe, whatever, however you pronounce Goethe. And so it was later popularized by Hegel. Now, if you can understand, Herder, Goethe, or Goethe and Hegel, they are all 18th century and 19th century people. And so whenever you search Zeitgeist, it will lead you to, it will direct you to these people who are centered in the 19th and the 18th centuries, which happen to be coinciding with the Romantic age. I think, other than that, I do not understand why the term, why any term will or could be applied to only one age and not to other ages. However, what Devdulal says is more theoretically correct, because there is not one spirit of time in the postmodern age. But what we can understand from this explanation is that we are assuming that all other ages earlier to, prior to the postmodern age, was homogeneous, which is far from the case. We have been taught to think that the Victorian or the Romantic or any other age was homogeneous. I believe applying the same postmodern theories on these ages, nothing was actually homogeneous. But, well, I mean, there were dominant strains and there were less dominant strains of thought and style and whatever Zeitgeist means. But I think if you are talking about searches, if you are talking about algorithm, then I think one of the reasons as to why Zeitgeist has come to be associated with the 18th century and 19th century is because it was coined during that time. But other than that, I do not know what, I cannot even comment on why Zeitgeist will be a term that will be associated only with Romantic and Romantic age only. And Sanjukta did say that the changes were the most reflected in the literature of the time. In which age it did not happen, I don't understand. I think it is true with all ages where the literature of the time almost reflected the spirit of the time. Anyway, I think well, let's move on to the next question. Ram, if you have any other question for Moumita related to the Romantic prose writers, particularly novelists, essayists, non-fiction, then ask that.
Right now, I do not have any question. If I come to any point that I can find any question, definitely I unmute if I may.
Okay. Next, Sanjukta. Your questions to Moumita.
Sir, I do not have any question now. If I can, then I will, obviously.
Okay. Devdulal, if you have any questions for Moumita.
Okay, so I just have a rather simple question in my mind that how it is often asked that it is often asked I mean it is often stated rather that German theorists or the philosophers are more uh, their views are more influencing for the entire idea of romanticism. So I just wanted to know that how the English philosophers, responded to their idea to combine, to make romanticism an English thing, so to say. So am I making any sense? I just wanted to ask simply that how how the idea of romanticism, as far as English literature is concerned, became an English thing, and what was the contribution of the English philosophers in relation to their interaction with the German, French philosophers, for that matter.
No, I have no idea.
No, I think my observation is my observation is not that much clear. Just so plainly speaking, I just wanted to know about the English philosophers' idea about romanticism. I know that the German French theorists or the philosophers were there who gave the first impetus to the idea, to the conception of romanticism as a philosophic idea. But what is the you know the take on romanticism of the English philosophers back then in 19th century?
Okay, can I try? I mean, I do not have
Of
a
course,
particular. Yes,
of course.
thank you.
It's a kind of a discussion.
Okay, thank you. The thing is, yes, the actually the impetus obviously came from the German philosophers and the idea of romanticism. But when it comes to English, I mean, writers, they were not so much kind of theoretical in their approaches towards literature, toward looking at literature. If we talk about Wordsworth or Keats, the way they are suggesting throwing their views about poetry, I mean romantic poetry. Keats says that if poetry doesn't come as naturally as leaves to the trees, then it should not come at all. Wordsworth says it's like the spontaneous overflow of emotions. But when it comes to much matured kind of areas like Hazlitt, like our Coleridge, they have different views. In Coleridge's idea, the views are like fancy and imagination. They have totally different theoretical views. But when it comes to the poets, particularly poets like Keats, Shelley, not to extent Shelley, Wordsworth, they have totally different kind of views. They are seeing literature like somebody who is very, I mean, who is having this urge to write something. It's spontaneous. But to the German philosophers, it is not so much spontaneous. It was like a theoretical thing when you can think and you write, and they give the term from their views. But from the perspective of romantic English writers, they are totally of different views. So I think if that kind of explains the term. Okay. And apart from that, I think there is another very, I mean, good thing to observe when it comes to art, and it's not about literature only. It's about paintings and
Okay,
architecture.
fine.
It's about painting and architecture. Everything,
And
every kind of
hello.
idea.
And one more
Yes.
question that is often asked about romantic age. That why?
Okay, I think Devdulal is having some communication issues. So I think Devdulal wanted Momita, you to tell what was the contribution of the English philosophers to the development of the idea of romanticism. And I think Ram answered well by pointing out that there was the philosophy itself had less to do with romanticism as such. However, I think what Ram said made sense, because if we consider Coleridge to be a philosopher, then he did contribute to the development of the romantic philosophy in his book Biographia Literaria, and there were other writers also who did contribute to the development of the uh, English romantic ideals and ideas, but um, any age or any development in any literary development in the age is not a very continuous process. What happens is that something is born first and then theorized or philosophized upon. So when Romanticism entered England, it was more of a literary movement than a philosophical line of thinking. So there was less discussion in the Romantic age about Romanticism, but there was discussions on Romanticism, philosophical discussions on Romanticism in the Victorian age. English philosophers who were who predated Romantic literary movement did not really spare much thought about romantic literature or romantic poetry or language or whatever, and it was mostly the continental philosophers who were talking about those ideas which influenced romantic poetry later. Yes, Momita. Okay, so I do not have any questions for Momita other than since we are talking about um, prose. So, can you name the first romantic Gothic novel that was written in English, Momita?
Castle Otranto.
By
Horace Walpole. Horace Walpole.
Horace Walpole. Okay. And can you name a lady novelist, a lady Gothic novelist?
Yeah, Mary Wollstonecraft. And his writing is Frankenstein.
Mary Wollstonecraft. Who is Mary Wollstonecraft?
Gothic novelist?
You mean Mary Shelley?
No. Mary Shelley's mother, Mary Wollstonecraft.
She wrote Frankenstein. Okay, double check. It's actually Mary Shelley, the wife of P.B. Shelley, the daughter of Mary Wollstonecraft, who wrote Frankenstein. And okay, so now my question will be directed. Oh no, I will ask these questions later. Now Ram Prasad will take questions from all of you. Okay?
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Ram Prasad will take questions from all of you. Devdulal, you can go first, but if you are facing some communication issues, Sanjukta, you can ask your questions.
Vindications of Rights of Women, I think.
Yeah, Mary Wollstonecraft wrote that.
Yeah.
Yes, Devdulal.
Develop to that I mean to that extent in during the romantic age.
I didn't get it. I mean,
Did you hear me, Ram?
Devdulal.
Okay, okay.
No, can't.
So my
Please.
question. Okay. Okay. So my question is, why did drama not develop?
Oh, that is a very fascinating question. Who said that drama didn't develop? Drama tried to come into the scenario, but
To that extent.
nobody. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Ram, continue.
Oh, I think I have got his question. This is quite a fascinating question. Yes, I agree to a certain extent that drama didn't kind of develop during this period, but drama did give it a try. But nobody was interested to read drama or perform drama because of the growth of I mean, so-called middle class, not exactly the term associated with the social issues, but yes, a particular class was kind of growing up during that period, and because of that, they were not interested to read or perform any drama, right? So yes, romantic poets and romantic prose writers, romantic novelists, they were much more involved in writing something which came to their mind and which would cater to the interest of the public of that particular period. So if drama uh, was not in the scene of the public's interest, then they did not I mean, try to write something about drama or write any kind of drama. So I think that would be one kind of question, one kind of answer. Another thing would be the loss of theaters during during that period. I mean, no theater was that much. I mean, um, successful in catering to the interest of the public, because in the earlier stage, in the earlier age, we have seen a lot of dramas were produced by the dramatists, right? So people were much more interested into reading novels or poetry because these are kind of new thing to them, right? So I think it could be one kind of answer.
No, okay, fine.
Okay, Hassan has a question for you, Ram. It is in the chat box. We can all put our questions in the chat box also.
Okay. Could you two novels written by Wollstonecraft? Yes, Vindications of the Rights of Omen, I think one. Novel by Wollstonecraft. I don't know. I know this answer. Any novels by Wollstonecraft? I have not read any novel. Oh, it is Reflection on the Revolution in France.
No, that's not your answer. Hassan will give the answer later. Uh, but Sanjukta, your questions now.
Who wrote Confessions of an English Opium Eater? And what is the publication date?
I do not know the publication date, but it is by Dickens, Thomas Dickens.
Publication date is 1821.
1820.
Okay. On the knocking of the gate in Macbeth.
It is also by the same author, I mean, by the same essayist, Dickens.
Okay, I have no more questions.
Okay, so if I have to ask you questions, Momita's question will be asked to you first. Like, can you name a female Gothic novelist? Any of them?
Of that particular age, from this particular age?
Gothic novelist, yeah, romantic novelist, yes.
From the Romantic period only.
Yes.
Okay. Then Mary Shelley's this book, forgetting the name, Frankenstein, and though it is not exactly on the, I mean, Gothic tradition, but yes, there are some elements of Gothic in the novel. Apart from that, there is another book, this something, I'm forgetting the name. It's about some devil and something.
Okay. Name a Gothic novel written by Jane Austen.
Gothic novel written by Jane Austen. Sanderson. It is an unfinished novel by Jane Austen. I don't know.
What is the name again?
No, not Sanderson. Not Sanderson. Yes.
And Hassan asked you another question. Who wrote the Monk?
The Monk. Okay. I'm forgetting the name. But Monk is not from this age. Right?
Lewis.
No, it is from
Yes,
this age.
Lewis from this age.
Matthew Lewis, 1796. Yes, it's from the same age.
Writer of the Monk.
Okay. All right. Next will be Sanjukta and Momita. Momita, did you ask questions to Ram?
No, sir.
Okay, ask your questions. Momita, are you there?
Okay, sir. My question is, in which essays Shelley depicts the atheism?
A Necessity of Atheism by Shelley, and for that, for writing that paper, he was expelled from Oxford.
Okay.
Any more
Robert Sadler
questions?
also wrote prose. What is the name of this prose?
Robert Sade
Uh, yeah.
uh, wrote a prose. It's about the. He talks about four ages, silver something. I'm
No, no,
forgetting the name of the.
no. Robert
No,
Sade.
Robert Sade. No, then I don't know the answer.
Okay, we can all give our answers to. Okay,
Okay, can I give just a minute? Uh, I mean, Northern Abbey is the answer of your question,
yes, it is.
sir?
It is not actually a Gothic novel, it's a spoof on Gothic novel, but it does
Yes,
create that atmosphere.
atmosphere.
Hmm. But
Thank you.
Devdulal, okay, you have more questions. Matilda and who is called the last of the romantics and why?
Uh, Gray, Gray is called the last of the Romantics because of his, I mean, inclination to romantic sensibility in his writings, especially in his elegy. So yes, and which question? Who? What are the last two novels by Mary Shelley? Last two novels by Mary Shelley. I don't know the answer. I'm sorry. Last two novels by Mary Shelley.
And then Matilda.
Who wrote Matilda? I knew the answer, but I'm forgetting again the name of the because I have not that much prepared.
Okay, so we can provide our answers to Ram. Momita, your question that about Sade, you can tell him the answer.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir. The Life of Nelson. It is published in 1813. It is a prose of Sade.
Okay, one of many prose works that he wrote. Okay, and who wrote Matilda? Hassan. You can type the answer in the chat box. And Hassan also had another question. What are the last two novels of Mary Shelley? Last two novels other than Frankenstein.
Oh, one thing. I think I kind of mistook the name by taking Robert Sade's name. His name is Peacock, Thomas Love Peacock, and the name of his essay is Four Ages of Poetry. So
Hmm.
I got confused.
Okay, and Hassan also provided the answers Lodore or Lodore and Faulkner. Okay, and Matilda was also written by Mary Shelley. So next is Sanjukta. Um, Ram, you can start questioning, then Momita and Hassan, you can type your questions in the chat box.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Who is associated with Irish potato famine?
Yes.
No,
Probably
Ram, you are not supposed to answer anymore. It's Sanjukta's turn now.
Oh, acha.
Okay, what is the question? Repeat again.
Who is associated with Irish potato famine?
Means who is writer?
Yeah.
Jonathan Swift.
He is not from the romantic age, but anyway. Any other
Jonathan
questions?
Swift is associated with the idea.
No, from romantic age.
I don't know.
Okay, you can provide the answers at the end. Momita, if you have more questions, continue.
Who called the poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world?
It's said by P.B. Shelley.
Why?
Means poets are the unacknowledged legislator of the mankind. Means poet are the prophet like figure actually, because they are actually trying to present the truth of the world, other than actually it is an attack of the Thomas Peacock's Four Ages of Poetry, and where they are trying to when Peacock is trying to neglect the contribution of the poet, and Shelley is actually critiquing Love Peacock's idea about the contribution of the poet, and thereby asserting here his argument by saying that no, poets are only the acknowledged legislator of the world.
Okay, Momita, any more questions?
No, sir.
Ram, your turn to ask questions to Sanjukta.
Okay, who wrote
Jane
the
Austen
imaginary
asks.
Oh, should I ask question or should I
Hashanda
be
is
asked?
asking.
Who is asking? Oh, okay.
Hashanda is
Yes.
actually typing a question.
Okay. Answer his question first and then Ram's.
Okay, it is Watson and Sanderson, two incomplete novel by Jane Austen.
Okay, who wrote Imaginary Conversation?
It's Landor, means World Savage Landor, which was published in 1824, I think.
Yes. Okay, I do not have any questions right now. If I have.
Devdulal, if you have any questions, you can type or ask.
Hello.
Hello.
You're audible.
Okay.
Yeah, yes.
So I just wanted to ask, what roles did the periodicals play during the Romantic age to shape up the spirit or conception of romanticism of the Romantic poets, especially the the five main Romantic poets.
Actually, I know the periodicals, but I am not recalling it now. The periodicals, the role of the periodicals is there in Romantic Age, and actually the first periodical was Edinburgh Review, which was the year of Edinburgh Review was 1802, and the three editors are there: Francis Jeffreys, Sidney Smith, and Henry Waugh. And then Blackwood Magazine was there, with Blackwood Magazine in the year 1870, and then the Indicator, Reflector, Examiner, the three magazine by Leigh Hunt, and there was I don't remember. I'm forgetting. I knew the answer, but I cannot remember right now.
Okay, a particular periodical is said to have been responsible for cutting John Kidd's life too short. Do you know which periodical it was?
It's Indicator, or sorry, Examiner.
It was an Indicator or Examiner? I mean, I don't know the answer actually.
I think that it's
It
Examiner.
was edited by Leigh Hunt, I think.
Yeah, it was Examiner, which argued that actually, which claimed that this is of the criticism actually led him die, and it was there in the thing is mentioned in his letter.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Who wrote Matilda? This one, sir. Who wrote Matilda?
No. Go scroll down at the end. Scroll down at the end.
Sorry, sir. I cannot understand it.
Scroll
What is the question?
Scroll the messages towards the end and you will find it. Did you find it?
Okay, William Hazlitt in his Spirit of Age remarks something about Mr. Lamb. Do you know what it was? Hazlitt. No, I can't remember. I read it.
Okay, any more questions for Samyukta?
Okay, I think I have a question, and the question is, we all know that Elijah is the pen name or pseudonym of Charles Lamb, but where did he get this idea of taking a pen name like Elijah from? I mean, the Elijah idea was coming from which thing?
Because of former Italian, you are saying that the name of the Elijah, the origin of the name of Elijah.
Yes.
From a clerk in the from a clerk in Southsea of house. Actually, he was a former Italian clerk.
Yes, I think so.
Any other
There
questions?
was also yes. There was also an essay by Charles Lamb where he mentioned that he met Coleridge at a hospital. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm right or not. Could you please name the essay?
Superannuated man, I think.
Mm, Uh, I mean, I don't know if it is correct or not. I think there was a Christ Hospital. I mean, the name of the essay was Christ Hospital, where he mentioned that he met Coleridge in that hospital. I think
Okay.
that is. Uh,
Another question for you, Sanjukta, in the chat box.
From a clerk. The search service. Name a play by Lamb. Okay, John Woodville, which was published in 1802. Actually, it was a tragedy. John Woodville.
Okay. Any more questions from anyone for Sanjukta? Okay, I have a question. Who coined the term Jacobin novel in the Romantic Age?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, what is the subtitle of Frankenstein? Okay.
Frankenstein. I'm forgetting. I knew the answer. First.
Okay. Um, who wrote the treatise History of the Commonwealth?
I don't know.
Okay. Who wrote Mandeville or Mandeville?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, it's William Godwin, and Hassan gave the other answers. So Gary Kelly coined the term Jacobin novelists and novel or Jacobin novel, and the subtitle of Frankenstein is the modern Prometheus. Okay,
Prometheus.
all right. So I think we have asked each other questions. Okay, so Hassan is providing the answer that I think he asked Sanjukta. You can read the answer. And Momita, you can tell that which writer is associated with the Irish potato famine, but with the qualification that Irish potato famine, as far as I can understand, started in 1845, and by then the Romantic Age was kind of over. But Momita says it's Mary Edgeworth. And what did she write about the Irish potato famine? Momita, what did this person write? She helped the people, and what was her writings? Okay, all right. Okay, so whenever you are preparing a question, prepare the answer as well so that it helps the candidates. Okay, any other questions that have been left unanswered by those who asked them? To Sanjukta or to Ram or to Momita? Okay, yeah. Okay, I think they have all been answered, and you can take. Who wrote Belinda? Who are you asking it to? Sanjukta? Sanjukta, you have one more question, the last one. Who wrote Belinda?
I don't know.
Okay, he will provide you the answer. Oh, it's Mary Edgeworth. Okay, 1801. Okay. All right, so let us wrap up for today, and we can meet next week. But next week, no, that's okay. You don't need to be sorry for anything. At least you're here. Uh, so next week it could be MK ma'am conducting the interview, and yeah, it's Maria, not Mary. Anyway, so she could be conducting the interview, but if it is 6th, if it is on 6th, then I might not be available. What I can do is I can ask any one of you to create a Google link, and I can uh, forward it to MK ma'am, and whoever activates the link will be able to allow her inside in the meeting, and she could ask you questions, and somebody can try to record the session um, by with the help of screen record or anything. Next assignment, well, next assignment could be uh, if she fails to take the interview, then there won't be any classes on Sunday, because I won't be available, but I might be available after 8. Okay, because I will be having a presentation from 6 to 8 on 6th. So we might take up the next age, though we are far from exhausting romantic age. We can take up the Victorian age, and we can take up the Victorian poets, like poet and poets and prose. So we can continue this discussion in the chat box, and Momita has a few questions for all of you. Yeah, I mean, that's okay, I think. Hassan, it's absolutely okay if you can do it from there, but do ask the people at base if that is okay. If it is okay for them, then there is no issues from my end. I mean, this is hardly a official thing or something like that. But once you record it, the purpose of recording is that you need to share it in the group. If base has no problem with that, then that's okay. Okay, Ram has something to say.